Tinubu would need to do is to ensure that Nigerians all agree to be one country. You recall that Bola Ige asked those two questions. Were those who owned Nigeria before Lugard brought his amalgamation in 1914? Call them in. These are the people who own the country, and ask them questions. What do you want to see of the Constitution? President Tinubu needs to put his best foot forward to govern the country. If he does that, in 4 years, he can turn things around. But there are certain critical things he would need to do. The first thing is to say, what's the Constitution? If, for instance, me and my wife Lillian don't agree in our marriage of 45 years, then we can't do anything. So the first thing that President Tinubu would need to do is to ensure that Nigerians all agree to be one country. You recall that Bola Ige asked those two questions. Do we want to be one? It's not by force. If we want to be one, how? We haven't answered those questions, which is why I told President Agbakoba of the Senate that it has taken 23 years to solve the problem of the Constitution. And I urged him, in conjunction with President Tinubu, to resolve the Nigerian constitutional question now, by inviting the owners of Nigeria. The owners of Nigeria, mark you, were those who owned Nigeria before Lugard brought his amalgamation in 1914. Call them in. These are the people who own the country, and ask them questions. What do you want to see of the Constitution? Because without a Constitution, we're going nowhere. And no one will doubt the fact that the Constitution bequeathed by the military in 1999 is unsatisfactory. You can't build anything out of a weak foundation. The economic development policy of President Tinubu, the political development policy of President Tinubu, and everything else he wants to do rests on a very solid foundation. So let him immediately resolve that. How can we spend 23 years looking for a foundation for building a house? Does that make sense to anybody? So that's my number one issue. We need to resolve this issue of, do we want to be one? And mark you, the flip side of the question is that we mustn't be one, because Yugoslavia, which was 6 countries under Marshal Tito, when he died, decided to break apart. And today, a lot of them are very strong countries: Macedonia, Croatia, Slovenia, Slovakia. They're all doing well. So there is no sacrosanctity about Nigeria being one country. There's none. I personally would wish for Nigeria to be one country, but we must agree. Now that is the problem. Because we have not agreed, and because the National Assembly has appropriated to itself the all-knowing wisdom of giving us a constitution, that is the weakness. So that's the starting point.
Dr. Agbakoba, I mean, sometimes when some of these issues are raised, I actually have problems with the decision by activists like you to call for a total discarding of the 1999 Constitution, because some activists like you have also said in the past that this document was the product of the 1979 Constitution, and in 1999 it was just a few amendments that were added to the 1999 Constitution.
No. Don't put words into my mouth. I did not say that. I simply said we need a constitution. I also said that there's a National Assembly. So I recognize the role of the National Assembly to give us a constitution. What I'm criticizing is the length of time that the National Assembly is taking to reach a decision. 23 years is too long a time for the National Assembly to come to a conclusion. That's my point. I recognize the National Assembly by Section 4, subsection 1 of the Constitution as a sovereign parliament, and that is the takeoff point. What I don't understand is why it is taking 23 years to give us a constitution. It's like a woman who is pregnant for 23 years. So my point is, let us quickly resolve And I'm happy I had the chance to speak to both President Tinubu and President Agbakoba about the need to quickly resolve this problem, because that's the key. If we resolve the Constitution and agree what we want to do, and that agreement may be we want to go to pieces.
People from the East here, they are clamoring for their own country, which is Biafra. And they have their own reason for doing so. And you cannot ignore it. And that is why you see a lot of unrest in the East here. You go to Imo State, the residents there, they don't sleep in the night. You go to Anambra State, the case is as peculiar as the one before. So even in Ebonyi State, you have cases of insecurity, criminality. So when you see all these things happening, is because when the government of the day failed to do the needful.
But people say they are not Biafrans.
That is what you will say. If they say, just like people who are from Rivers here also, they are saying they are not Biafrans as well. Yeah. But if Nigeria want to test their resolve, let them put them into test. You organize referendum for them.
May they share the country. Finish with. May they share the country. Not in this country. We are not one. If you say something good, we can never good. We are not one. Yoruba day, Hausa day, Igbo day. Problem now.
Division.
Division. May they share the country.
May they share the country. Make everybody go.
So which part?
Anyhow, where they want to, even though state, make everybody become your own.
So you go get your own.
I get my own.
Get your own local government.
Not be local government. Me, I will get my own federal.
Biafra, even if the country say okay, Nigeria say okay, Biafra should go. Have your own country as you claim. The problem will even multiply. You know why it will multiply?
Ethnic wise or tribe?
It will multiply because of our individualism. As I told you earlier, mindset. A governor want to accrue. A senator want to accrue for the unborn
generation.
And then generations to come. That is where our problem lies.
So the problem of Nigeria lies with greed.
Greed, one. I told you earlier, mindset. Our mindset, until our mindset is renewed. If you like, split this country into 6 geopolitical zones. It will not make any headway. Why?
How do we renew our mind?
Because people that will be at the helm of affairs are still this political elite. They are not going to bring common people to come and rule. They are still this political elite. So our mind should be renewed. As we are preaching in our churches, and we begin to practice what we preach. As we are preaching in our homes, as fathers and mothers, we begin to tell our wives and children.
When I look at Nigeria, I get mental. That's why I don't used to think about Nigeria again. Because I only wonder how the kind of foolish leaders we have in this country. I'm annoyed.
What do we go do now?
What I'm advising our youth to do is for us to get up, to wake up from sleep and slumber, and make sure say we scrap all these leaders out of this country. I need to scrap them. You know meaning of scrap? Yes. Scrap them out of this country and bury them. Scrap out of this world because they are very, very wicked and just I don't know. I don't talk Thai. I don't know what to qualify them.
One thing I know that is constant in this world is change. And if there's change, there's nothing bad in changing a country, a situation, an avenue, or whatever you may call it. I like change. I like revolution. I like military intervention. Provided it will be for our own good, I welcome it.